Chapter 6. Luke and Dakina rode the Rift Skyrail as far as Cloud Bridge, the southernmost of the West Rim stops. That treated them to a breathtaking view of the last 80 kilometers of the Rift, one of the narrowest sections, and consequently one of the most spectacular. The elevated track was perched right on the edge of the chasm, leaping across side canyons that would have been major attractions in their own right anywhere else. At Cloud Bridge, Lee Ston rented a bubbleback, a local land speeder variant, popular with visitors who wanted to explore the canyon bottom. But instead of heading for the elevators at the Cloud Bridge Rift access point, Luke turned the bubbleback west along Flyway 120 toward the Greenbelt. An hour and a half at the top speed allowed on the flyway brought them to the intersection with Harvest Flyway, which Akina's Traveler's Aid card told them was an important cargo route connecting the heart of the Greenbelt with Tourist Knob. There was no speed limit on the lightly traveled cargo route, which put the agricultural city of Grian not quite 2 hours away at the bubbleback's top speed.
Need to stretch?
No,
she said, pointing behind them.
I can manage.
As getaway vehicles, bubblebacks featured a compact waste station and reprocessor with a full set of standard humanoid fittings.
Do we need to refuel?
No. Grian has fuel stops, I assume.
Akina checked her aid card.
Yes, though it states local prices may vary from published visitor area rates. Please, let's push on.
They had nearly reached Grian when Akina finally noticed the outline of the cylinder in the right thigh pocket of Luke's walkarounds.
You brought your lightsaber?
She asked, leaning toward him.
Yes,
He said.
you sound surprised.
How did you get it through arrival screening? You can't fool a scanner with Jedi mind tricks. Can you?
You can fool the person whose job it is to respond to scanner alarms.
Luke said.
But even that wasn't necessary. Lightsabers are still the rarest weapons in the galaxy. There's only one model of general security scanner that's programmed to recognize them, and Tear doesn't use it.
Then what do they think it is?
Luke smiled.
Most scanners misidentify a lightsaber as a type of shaver, which I suppose it could be in a pinch, if you were very, very good with it.
She settled back in her seat.
I wish you had left it in the ship.
That's asking too much.
Luke said.
I don't carry it every minute, but I don't like to be that far away from it. I've gotten in more tough spots because of not having it close enough than I ever have for carrying it.
Looking out her window at the gently rolling fields and the day moon that was setting over them, Akina said,
Please remember what I asked of you. It's important to me.
I remember.
Luke said.
I hope you remember that I didn't make you any promises.
Is there that much pleasure in killing that it becomes something difficult to give up?
Luke shot a hard glance across the bubbleback at her.
What makes you think I take pleasure in killing?
That you won't renounce it.
She said, turning to meet his gaze.
If I had caused 1 million deaths, I don't think I could ever pick up a weapon again. I don't understand how you can.
With no ready answer, Luke turned his gaze back toward the flyway ahead. It wasn't until years after the Battle of Yavin that Luke had first become aware that the Death Star he had destroyed at Yavin had a complement, officers, crew, and support staff, of more than 1 million sentients. In retrospect, it was something he should have realized without prompting. But it took a new Battle of Yavin display at the Museum of the Republic on Coruscant to point it out to him. When Luke thought of the Death Star, he associated it with Vader and Tag and Grand Moff Tarkin, with the stormtroopers who'd tried to kill him in its corridors, and the TIE pilots who'd tried to kill him above its surface, with the super laser gun crews who had obliterated defenseless Alderaan. But the signs at the massive cutaway model of the Death Star in the museum had spelled out the numbers in its table of specifications, and Luke could still recite them.
25,800 stormtroopers, 27,000, 48 officers, 774,000, 576 crew, 378,685 support staff.
He remembered.
1,205,109.
Luke said quietly.
Not counting the droids.
The calm precision of the recitation brought a look of startled horror to her face.
But you have to look at both sides of the ledger.
Luke went on.
Alderaan, Obi-Wan, Captain Antilles, Dutch, Tiri, Dak, Biggs.
Luke shook his head.
Sometimes your enemies don't give you much choice. Kill them, give up, or be killed. And if you think I should have done anything other than what I did...
The past is fixed, unalterable.
Akana said.
What I care about is what you'll do today, or tomorrow. I know your past. I know your heritage, and I have already seen you kill once. Can't you understand how alien and abhorrent this is to me? To those who gave Nashira shelter?
You don't trust me.
She folded her hands on her lap, and her voice became small.
I am trying, Luke. But you don't know how hard it is for me to trust someone who believes as you do, and who has your power.
Luke stole a sideways glance to catch her expression.
Are you saying you're afraid of me because of this?
I suppose I am.
She said.
But I don't want to be.
I would never hurt you, Akana.
Luke said.
I brought this with me in case there were any surprises waiting, not to threaten you.
I move through the world without one.
She said.
Could you not do the same?
Luke slowly shook his head.
Not while I still call myself a Jedi. It's more than a weapon. It's a tool for training the mind and the body. And it's become part of me, an extension of my will.
And a way to enforce your will on others.
He shook his head.
Most of the discipline of the lightsaber has to do with defense.
And what about the rest?
The rest requires that you get close to your adversary, close enough to have to look them in the eye.
Luke said.
An old-fashioned idea and a civilizing one. If all you want is to kill quickly, efficiently, and impersonally, a blaster is a much better choice. The Emperor's stormtroopers didn't carry lightsabers after all.
All of my nightmares are of places where there are men who want to kill efficiently.
Akana said, turning her face back to the viewpane.
And the worst nightmare of all is to think that the only universe that is such a place.
Grian had been laid out on the plains of Tyr with a compass and a square. Its regularly spaced streets of regularly sized houses intersected with right-angle precision in a grid 5 kilometers square. At the heart of the city was a small commercial zone, serving both the residents and the traffic on the Harvest Flyway. Around the boundary of the city was an enclosing wall of silos, granaries, ag domes, sheds for the auto harvesters and sky hoppers, control towers for the irrigation system, and all the other facilities necessary for servicing the fields beyond.
Welcome to Scenic Grian,
Luke said, guiding the bubble back into a refueling station.
What now? Do you have a plan?
I have an address.
Akana said.
North 5, 26 down. My friend Norika lived there.
Luke shot her a questioning look.
I thought the children were supposed to be hiding. How did you get a lead as specific as an address?
From Norika.
Akana said.
I got one letter from her that first month, hyper-comm to Corrados from a public terminal at something she called the committee office. I wrote her back, a dozen letters at least, but she never answered. I never heard from her again.
Someone probably enforced on her the idea that hiding means you don't tell anyone where you are,
Luke said.
Or the Circle came for them and took them away.
Luke glanced out his window at the display on the refueling droid.
It's been 19 years. You may not know her even if she's still here.
I would know Nori no matter how many years have passed.
Akana said fervently.
Wialu said we had the bond of twins. I've never been closer to anyone.
The refueling over, Luke started the repulsor lifts.
Well, let's go find out how close we are. North 5, number 26?
Yes.
I think I can find that.
From city center to city edge, Akana's anticipation built until it bubbled over in nervous smiles and a restless bouncing in her seat. But when the bubbleback turned onto North 5, her face went pale, and her hand shot out and clutched Luke's wrist tightly. A strangled noise was all that escaped her parted lips. Luke did not need an explanation. His eyes saw the same thing hers did. The double row of low houses along North 5 ended at number 22. Where number 24 should have been was an expanse of patchy grass. Beyond it, the grass gave way to several lots worth of bare, yellowish dirt. The next even-numbered low house was at the corner of the next intersection, number 38.
Well, There's no there over there.
Luke said, peering over his shoulder as he brought the bubble back to the curb in front of number 38. Popping the bubble, Akana jumped out before the land speeder came to a stop. She ran back down the street in a staggered gait, hugging her arms to her chest, her gaze darting from one side of the roadway to the other. Her steps slowed as she neared the lot opposite number 25. She looked frantic and frail standing there, staring at the bare ground and the broken outline of a foundation. Leaping out of the land speeder, Luke hurried after Akana. Before he could reach her, her legs buckled under her, and she dropped to her knees in the dust-dry rain gutter.
No!
She screamed, her anguish stretching the single syllable into a wounded howl.
No, it's not fair!
Akana.
She raised her head and turned her face toward him. Her eyes were full of pain, her cheeks streaked with tears.
I'll never find them,
she whispered hoarsely.
What am I going to do now, Luke?
You're going to keep looking. All this means is that Nori's not here,
Luke said, crouching beside her.
You weren't counting on that, were you?
But he saw in her eyes that she had been. And what might have been a minor disappointment was a bitter blow.
Something the matter, folks?
A new voice said from behind. Both Luke and Akana turned their heads quickly to see a stubble-faced, middle-aged man in blue-black tech coveralls approaching them from the direction of number 27. Luke stood as the man neared and offered Akana a hand to help her up. She remained on her knees and took Luke's hand to steady herself instead.
Is the lady having a problem?
The man asked again, a hint more suspicion in his appraising look.
Do you want to call out to Mediaid?
No, she's all right. She just had an ugly surprise, that's all.
Luke said.
We're looking for someone who used to live in number 26.
Ah,
The man said with a nod.
Poe Regis. Jicky and I live over in 27 up. So you didn't know, did you? You must be visitors.
He glanced down the street.
Why, sure you are. And I'm a fool for not seeing. Bubbleback's not practical in a working city.
Was it the war?
Akana asked, her voice shaky.
The war? No, Tyr was never bombed. Cyclone.
Regis said.
9 years ago. Took out 8 houses here, then skipped and hit another 5 over at the end of North 3. The committee used to talk about rebuilding, but there's no demand. Half the houses in the city are single family now, up and down. It's all the field droids they brought in. City's slow dying, if you ask me.
Luke urged Akana to her feet.
The people who lived here.
Crit and Fola. Good folks. Our kids played with their kids till they all moved to Turos North.
Crit and Fola are in Turos North right now?
Akana asked, a spark of hope entering her voice. The spark was quickly extinguished by Poe Regis.
What? No, dead. The whole family. Sorry. Killed by the cyclone. It was the supper hour, and the weather radar failed. 15 dead on this street alone. I knew them all.
Akana sagged against Luke.
How long have you lived here?
Luke asked. Regis squinted.
28 years.
The person we're looking for would have moved here 19 years ago.
Luke said.
A girl, maybe 11 years old. Akana?
She was dark-haired, willowy. Her name was Norika, or Nori.
I don't know.
Regis said.
Maybe Jicky remembers. Did you say the name was Rika? Oh, 26 down. Who was it that lived there then? Trobe Sahar, I think was her name.
Yes.
Akana said eagerly.
You remember her? Where did she go? Please tell me she wasn't one of the 15...
Sure, I remember little Rika. She was shy as a shadow. Wasn't there very long, 1 season at most. The Dormand family moved into 26 down. The spring I transferred to irrigation. I'm sorry, I don't know where they all went. That was all a long time ago, you know.
Is there anyone else on the street who might know something?
Akana asked, trying desperately to sustain hope.
I don't think so.
Regis said slowly.
Jicky and I are the last of the old crowd. I guess we're the only ones who could take looking across and knowing what happened, what's down there. They just collapsed everything into the holes and covered it over with dirt, you know?
Thank you, Poe.
Luke said.
You've been very kind.
Sorry I couldn't be more help. Do you want to talk to Jicky? She'll be up from her nap soon.
Yes.
Akana started to say.
Thank you, no.
Luke said, steering Akana back toward the land speeder with firm pressure on her arm. She looked up at him in amazement.
Lee, the others. Maybe she remembers the others.
We must have the wrong address.
Luke said, gently pressing that thought into Poe Regis's consciousness.
We'll try over on North 3.
That's right,
said Regis.
There hasn't been a 26 on this block for years.
I think I hear Jicky calling you,
Luke suggested.
Well, I need to get back. Jicky's calling me.
Regis said, retreating slowly.
Good luck now.
Thank you.
Akana waited until the ag tech disappeared into his house, then turned on Luke with fierce indignation.
Why did you do that? He might have been able to tell us something more.
He already told us enough,
Luke said.
Narika lived here for a little while in the underground half of the house, with a woman named Trobe Sar. And that structure is still down there. It's just filled in. Wouldn't she have left a marker for you here when she left? Can you read scribing through the fill?
I don't know.
She stepped forward, out of the street and onto the crumbly yellow dirt.
Maybe, if it's there. Let me try.
Luke waited and watched as Akana slowly walked across the buried ruin of the low house several times, pausing here, crouching there, reaching out to touch a small bit of foundation protruding up from the ground. Her expression offered no encouragement, and in time she sighed deeply, shook her head, and rejoined him.
It's the deaths.
She explained glumly as they returned to the bubble back.
The current is still tangled here. It's as if someone made a delicate sand painting. And 10 minutes later, a meteorite fell right in the middle of it. If there was anything here, it's gone now.
Don't give up,
Luke said.
I've been thinking. A society as orderly as this one keeps records. Let's find the committee office. I'll bet some gray hair there knows everything about everyone who's ever lived in Grianne.
The recorder of assignments and transactions for the Supervisors Committee turned out to be completely hairless. A brand new fat-bodied TT-40 library droid. Like all factory-fresh droids, TT-40 was long on formality and short on personality, lacking even a nickname. They found it busily moving its 3 spinning data probes from port to port in the U-shaped firewall switchboard that surrounded it.
We need some information about...
Luke began.
In accord with Ordinance 2025, Privacy of Official Records, all requests for current records must be approved by the supervisor of your district, or, for non-residents, by the general supervisor.
The droid pronounced.
That's nice.
Luke said under his breath.
Nosy, but discreet.
Commercial requests for historical records must be accompanied by a completed application and bond guarantee. Individual requests for historical records for purposes of personal scholarly or genealogical research will be processed at no charge on a time-available basis.
Whoa, stop right there, Chuckles. That's us,
Luke said.
What counts as historical?
For income, sales, and employment data, all records 1 fiscal year or older are deemed historical. For birth, death, bonding, and dissolution certificates, all records 100 days.
What about census data? Names and addresses, residences?
Akana interjected.
For biennial census data, all records 50 years.
50!
Luke exclaimed. To Luke's surprise, Akana was unfazed.
Clerk!
She said.
I have a package to deliver to Poe Regis. Can you tell me his current address?
The data probe spun.
Poe Regis resides at North 5, 27 up.
Clerk!
She said.
I have a package to deliver to Trobe Sar. Can you tell me her current address?
Trobe Sar is not in the current city directory.
Can you tell me her last known address in Grianne?
In Revision 81 of the city directory, Trobe Sar's address is North 5, 26 down.
Are other city directories available?
Yes.
The data probe seated itself in a new port.
Connected to central directories.
Can you tell me Trobe Sar's last known address on Tier?
In Revision 89 of the Sedana City Directory, Trobe Sar's last known address is Kel Plath, 13.
Thank you.
she said, taking Luke's arm.
Let's go, Lee.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Outside the committee office, Luke tried to stop Akana for an explanation, but she could not be headed off until they reached the spot where they'd parked the bubbleback.
Why are you in such a hurry? We could have tried the children's names,
Luke said.
Getting Chuckles to look in the city directories instead of the census was working like a charm.
You cannot search the directories with nothing more than the first name of a minor,
Akana said, rapping on the land speeder's dome with her knuckles.
Would you open this up, please?
Luke complied, and they climbed in together.
I know that because I tried. From Karados years ago.
She continued as the bubble sealed around them.
It's impossible without knowing the family names they were using. Are we going to get started or not?
Started where?
Sadhana, of course.
Revision 89 was more than 15 years ago. And we don't know that Norika went with this Trobe Sar, or even if Trobe was part of your circle. Chances are this is going to be another North 5, a disappointment.
No,
she said.
Not this one.
Why are you so sure? An hour ago you thought this was hopeless. And this morning you were sure they would never make their home on Tyr. Why so upbeat all of a sudden?
Because Kel Plath is a Falinasi name.
She hesitated, then added,
It means held breath, an allusion to our meditation exercises. Besides,
she said.
What other leads do we have?
You've got me there.
Luke fumbled in his pocket for the traveler's aid card.
All right, where is Sadhana anyway?
The river city of Sadhana was on the far side of Tyr from Grian and the Rift, straddling the Noga River at what traditionally was considered its upstream limit of navigability. 500 years earlier, Sadhana had been the gateway to the entire inner river district, with bustling docks and a job for anyone who wanted it. Repulsor lift transports had taken the focus of commerce away from the river, and in large part from Sadhana as well. The docks were gone, and the Noga River now tumbled through the city as an elaborate water sculpture of falls, rapids, ponds, and fountains. Sadhana was the smallest tier city with a spaceport, and the terminus of the single-track river district spur of the Rift Skyway. Luke followed the Harvest Flyway to Turris Noth. Paying a hefty premium for dropping the bubbleback at the Skyrail station there. As night closed in, he and Akana boarded a westbound rail train and found seats in the single car that was programmed to separate from the rest and follow the spur to Sadhana. But that intersection was hours away in the darkness. At Luke's urging, Akana napped. She was not the only one in the nearly full cabin to do so. The ride was smooth, with just a slight and soothing side-to-side sway. The cabin lights were dimmed to unobtrusiveness, and the individual self-adjusting tour couches cradled them comfortably. Luke did not dare sleep. Only his consciousness could hold the Lee Ston mask in place. There were suggestions in the old records of great Jedi masters who could cast illusions even when sleeping, but neither Luke nor any Jedi he knew had attained that level of facility with the Force skill known as Alter. And Luke could not risk dropping his mask in public. Even if he were not recognized as himself, shapeshifters and mentalists were so widely assumed to be thieves, spies, and brigands that he could expect nearly as much commotion. So he sat up awake, watching over Akana, listening to whispered conversations, gently sensing the energies of those around him, looking out into the night as distant lights betrayed their swift passage and the cities along their route embraced the rail train with their restless energy, and then surrendered it back to the darkness. He wondered if somewhere out in that darkness the woman Akana had known as Nashira was asleep as well, peacefully or restlessly, tranquilly or fearfully.
What would my mother think of me?
He wondered, and it was the first time such a thought had ever confronted him. The thought perplexed and distracted him. He recalled Akana's words on the night she had appeared.
The gift of the light came from your mother, and your mother was of our people. There is an emptiness inside you where memories of your mother should be. A weakness where what she would have taught you would have strengthened you.
Presumptuous words, but knowing words. In that moment he felt that emptiness acutely, unable even to imagine what might fill it, or even that it might ever be filled.
Perhaps Nashira has stayed away because she's ashamed,
Luke thought.
Perhaps she sees too much of Father in us, just as this woman does. You may have been right, Leia. If I do find the truth, I may not find it to my liking.
Then Luke's sense skill tugged at his consciousness, calling his attention to a change in his surroundings. Clearing all other thoughts from his mind, he swept his awareness and his gaze together across the darkened rail train. Both quickly fixed on the same point. An Elaman passenger, sitting near the front of the car on the opposite side. The Elaman's back was turned toward Luke, his horned skull crown just visible over the top cushion of his tour couch.
Now where did you come from?
Luke thought, intent with suspicion.
You weren't there 10 minutes ago? How could I have missed you coming in? Something doesn't feel right about this.
He stole a quick look at Akana, reassuring himself that she was sleeping blissfully. He wondered how badly his attention had wandered, whether he had let his mask slip.
Everything I know about you says that this isn't really your sort of vacation spot,
he thought, staring at the back of the Elaman's couch.
Even if the Tierians share your fetish for order, they keep letting in all these unpredictable alien types. And I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of times I've seen a solitary Aloman out in mixed company. 2 of you in one day, or the same one twice.
Just then the Elaman left his seat and moved forward with slow, long-limbed strides. He was empty-handed, as the Elaman at the spaceport had been. At the end of the aisle, he paused for a moment and looked back into the cabin. Then, ducking his head, he passed through the connecting doorway and was gone. Luke waited, torn between wanting to follow and not wanting to leave Akana. The yellow men had still not returned when the porter droid made an appearance. Trundling down the aisle, reciting a soft-spoken warning.
Attention, passengers. If you are not continuing to River District Spur destinations, please move into one of the forward cabins. This car will be separating from the train at Polygon. Attention, passengers.
Still, the Elaman did not return. As the chime sounded and the status light above the connecting door changed to yellow, Luke reached out with his senses and searched the train for the Elaman. But Luke could not find him. Fearing a bomb, he rushed forward to where the Elaman had been sitting. Luke stared. There were no bags or articles there, just a sleeping Gotal infant. The chime sounded again. Luke looked up as the connecting doors slid shut and the status light turned red. There was an almost imperceptible deceleration as the cars separated and the lights of Podadan began to flash through the unfiltered view panes. The infant stirred in its sleep, and Luke retreated.
What is wrong with me?
He demanded silently as he made his way back to his seat, the aisle tilting under him as the car swung off the main line and onto the banked spur to Sadana.
Why am I jumping at shadows?
Akana had slept through it all, oblivious. When she finally woke to the spectacular salmon and pink sunrise warming her face, Luke said nothing to her about it. He didn't know what he could have said, except that he had had another waking dream and still didn't know its meaning. The name Cal Ploth no longer appeared in the Sedana directories, but not because Tyr's winds had ripped it from the map or because the name had become burdened by shame. An hour at the city library uncovered not only its location, but also the petition under which its new owners had asked for the more marketable name of River Gardens. Cal Ploth had been a communal, a walled and gated space enclosing a group of small residences surrounding a common green space. The design was popular in Sedana. Standing in front of the gate to River Gardens, Luke and Akana could see more than a dozen other communals along the road winding along the high bank above the river. According to the Traveler's Aid card, the communal was a piece of the region's history as well, a reminder of rougher days when the walls and gates protected unmated children and other valuables from the less refined types who came to Sedana to work the docks. As a matter of form, Luke and Akana approached the security droid at the gate and asked after Trobe Sar, Norika, and the other children. In each case, the answer was the same.
I am unable to identify the resident requested.
I'm interested in purchasing a share in River Gardens.
Luke said, trying another tack.
Who could arrange a tour of the facilities for us?
No shares are currently available for purchase.
The security droid said.
When shares become available, they will be listed with Indal Properties of Sedana.
Akana stepped forward.
I'm researching the history of communals for Tier Tours subscribers,
she said.
I'd like to know more about the history of this site. Is the property manager available to talk to me for a few minutes?
Directed for a second time to Indal Properties, they retreated to the other side of the street to regroup.
So much for the front door,
Luke said with a sigh.
I hate trying to wiggle past a security droid. They're too dumb to deceive and too single-minded to finesse.
We must get inside.
They're not there. You know that. They've been gone for 15 years.
But they were here,
she said.
And the way will be marked.
Luke looked back over his shoulder.
You don't think they were considerate enough to leave their mark on the outside of the communal, do you?
It was evening when they returned to the communal to resume their search. The wall of the communal was 3 meters high and slippery smooth, curving slightly outward and topped with a line of sharp-edged fracture stone that was both decorative and functional.
I can vault this,
Luke said.
It isn't a problem.
It is, for me.
I can get us both over.
Give me a chance to read here first.
She moved down the wall at her own pace, trailing her fingertips along the surface. Luke followed a few steps behind, trying to sense the interaction between her and the wall, to understand what opening she was looking through in search of the Falanasi scribing. When they rounded the third corner, Akana cried out in surprise and fell back a step. With 2 quick strides, Luke was beside her. It was then that he saw the security droid blocking her way.
This is your only warning,
the droid said.
You are loitering on private property. Your likeness has been recorded. Your suspicious behavior has been documented. Remove yourself from this vicinity immediately. If you do not, you will be detained, and a complaint will be made against you. If you return to this vicinity, a complaint will be made against you. This message constitutes a lawful and sufficient notice under Article 18 of the Criminal Statutes of the Sedona Syndic.
Akana opened her mouth to protest, but Luke knew better than to argue.
We're leaving,
he said, pulling her along by the arm. Unswayed by the promise, the droid followed them back to their land speeder and waited until they moved off to return to its post by the gate.
Have I mentioned that I hate security droids?
Grumbled.
How are you going to check the other side and a half now? Did you find anything?
There was writing by the front gate.
Akana said.
It marked this place as Kel Plath.
That's all?
Yes, that's all. What we need is inside.
She looked back to see if they were out of sight of the gate at River Gardens.
Stop here.
Why?
I have to go back.
And do what?
What I did the night we met,
she said.
Or have you forgotten?
I haven't forgotten that you never explained how you got into the sanctuary without me sensing you.
Are you going to stop?
Frowning, Luke brought the land speeder to an abrupt halt.
Thank you,
she said, and tipped open her door.
You're not going to explain.
No, I do not intend to explain.
Wait,
he said.
What can I do?
I do not expect to need anyone killed,
she said, clambering out.
Do what you just said. Wait. And try not to attract the suspicions of any droids in this neighborhood. Our ship is halfway around the planet, and it might be difficult to get back to it if we're criminal fugitives.
He stared after her as she strode back down the street, wondering how many different women he was traveling with, and whether he would ever learn all their stories. "20 minutes later, Luke felt Akana approaching.
Let's go,
she said as she climbed in.
Did you get inside?
Let's go,
she repeated insistently. Luke looked back along the street.
Is someone following you?
I got inside. No one is following me yet. Now, can we go?
The land speeder surged forward.
And?
I found it,
she said.
We're done here.
Are you going to tell me this time?
When we're away from here and I know it's safe.
So it's not me you don't trust?
These things are never to be spoken to one who cannot read them,
Akana said.
To tell you at all violates an oath. To tell you now, here, when there are so many ways a secret can escape, compounds that offense with needless risk.
Luke frowned.
Is there any reason we can't return by Skyrail?
No,
she said, looking out her side view pane.
I wasn't seen.
She seemed determined not to talk, but there were things Luke needed to say before they reached the terminal.
You weren't the only one who was successful,
he said.
I turned up some information, too. And I'll even tell you now.
Please don't. Whatever it is, it will keep,
she said.
All that matters now is to get away from here.
Knowing where we are going next matters a tiny bit,
Luke said.
I got curious about how your friends left.
It's of no consequence. We leave no trail that an outsider can follow.
You may think so,
Luke said.
But I found out some interesting things, all the same. Like the reason they sold the Communal.
She looked at him disdainfully.
That's no mystery to buy passage. They had no more use for it except for any value they could take with them.
Akana, they bought a starship.
Luke waggled the traveler's aid card.
You can't judge things by their size. In addition to the maps, the food guides, the attraction lists, and the ads, this has a wireless link to the Tier Commerce Bureau and an information hotline. Your friends may be long gone, but there's still a corporation registered here called Kel Plath, and it owns a starship named Star Morning.
It must have taken everything they had,
Akana said.
And a little more.
Luke said.
Star Morning is a Coke's liner. The better part of 50 years old, mind you, and too small to compete with the big Expo ships, but still no small purchase.
How many could it carry?
A Coke's? Maybe 60 depending on the cargo allocation.
Akana nodded.
That would be enough.
You don't seem overly surprised by this.
Luke said, raising an eyebrow.
I was. I thought we were trying to track down refugees, not stockholders.
Just because we choose to live simply doesn't mean that we're without resources.
Akana said.
To be poor is to be powerless. The Falanassi are as old as the Jedi, and we've hidden and husbanded our resources well.
Then why were you left on Karatos?
Luke asked.
I can see that they might not want to risk bringing their ship there to pick you up. But why couldn't passage be bought for you?
You forget that Karatos fell under Imperial control soon after I was sent there.
She said.
There were head taxes that had to be paid at the port by anyone leaving. High taxes to discourage people from fleeing the planet.
Then why couldn't the tax have been sent for you?
I don't know that it wasn't.
Said Akana, her eyes misting.
I don't know that Talsava didn't keep it for herself.
Your foster mother?
My custodian. She was never more than that.
She tried a smile, which fell short of conviction.
There was a morning, you see, when I woke up and she was gone.
Gone.
Bitterness owned her voice.
Her clothes, her little precious gewgaws. Every personal possession small enough to pack in a bag and carry away in the night, all gone. I never saw her again. She abandoned me there to fend for myself, at 15, in a port city that made your Mos Eisley look quiet and genteel.
The unvoiced suspicions behind Luke's questions left him feeling ashamed.
We'll find them,
He said firmly as the rift skyway appeared ahead of them.
When we get back to Mud Sloth, I can access the New Republic Ship Registry's traffic logs. We should be able to find out where Star Morning has been and when. We can surely find out where she is now.
That isn't necessary.
Akana said. Reaching out, she laid her hand across his as though she were trying to reassure him.
Atzeri. We need to go to Atzeri now. And I know that it may not, but I pray this ends there.